Thank you, Jean-Philippe. Yeah, I just don't see my slides yet. I guess they are coming. Share mine. So everybody should see my slide now. So yeah, as you said, my name is Valentin LEJOP. I'm French, but today we will talk in English. I will talk about how to validate a security architecture. I'm from Keysight Technologies. So just a few words, very few words about Keysight. We are doing solutions to test networks, performance and security, and also to optimize the security in place in your by feeding the security with some packets and visibility. Today we will talk about the need to test security architecture, how to test it, and with what, basically. So first, why we need to bother testing security? First reason is that it is expensive most of the time. A lot of companies not necessarily are able to afford, let's say, the best solution they would like, and they have to test the solutions on the market to find the best and that fit their budget as well. That's the, let's say, the first reason that is actually not technical. But in terms of technical reasons, we need to test solutions just because we need to know when we will manage it. We need to know what the solution is for, what it can do, and how is it good. I hear that the sound is not so good. Maybe bring a bit my mic will be better. I hope so. Much better. Perfect. Thank you. So we need to know what the solution is for, what it can do, and what it won't do. Many times, the enterprises are taking a solution. Let's take an example of a DLP. DLP is supposed to analyze files and to know if there is exfiltration of confidential data. But what the company doesn't verify is what are the protocol inspected and what are the file extensions analyzed as well. And they don't know if we pass information through, let's say, a JPEG file that we send via HTTP. It won't be analyzed, for example, maybe. And that they don't verify it and they don't know what are the limitations of the product. And also they have to know how to use the product the best to configure it very well in order to obtain maximum of the security maturity this product can have. And then the second factor is, again, not that technical, is to choose the good tool is to know the limits that we are having in terms of knowledge, in terms of number of people able to manage it, and to know also the limits of the tool itself in terms of performances, network performances, features, etc. So that's all why we need to test. Now the question is, what should I do to test the solution, to test the product? Because it can be very difficult sometimes to know how to do it. So some clues on how to do it. First, we need to understand, to identify the purpose of the product, what it will do, what I want it to do, actually. So first, it can be to identify activities on the network, or maybe it will be on the terminal, on my laptop. That's very different things. We understand it. And second thing that's sometimes not so clear is, will my product I wanted to detect attacks and to report it to the SIEM and to the SOC center, or to block the attacks, to do preventions. That's two different things as well that we need to test a bit differently. Do I want my security to be on the behavior of the users, or more based on signatures, like the first generation of security based on a signature database or on behavioral? That's very different. Do I want to analyze files or protocols used, communications, ciphered communications or not, etc. All that are a lot of questions we need to put to be able to answer, and this will make us to be able to select some vendors for the benchmark, for the POC. And then we need to identify what will be the possible limitations of the product we will test. It can be a limit on the protocol or the files that will be analyzable. As I said earlier, it can be the amount of traffic that we will be able to analyze in terms of number of stations or number of the bandwidth simply that will be able to digest the security product. Its stability as well. We know that sometimes the security product don't behave the same when they're stressed with a lot of traffic or when there is only attacks on the network. They are able to block it very well, but when there is a lot of traffic to analyze and these attacks, the same attack, sometimes it passes through the security product because of the stress. So the product is not stable when it does that. So that's a big point to test as well in the benchmark, because when of course you will have just the product, it will be too late to realize that. So this kind of limitations we want to identify will make us able to create a test plan. So I will give you a clue about what can be a test plan, how it can look, what kind of metrics we will be able to measure into it. I will summarize it because of the time we are having for this presentation. So the first is totally not about security. Let's concentrate ourselves only about the network. Will my security solution will be able to handle the traffic? Just only that, you know. So first in the layer 2, layer 3 level, so very basic level, what is the throughput? What is the number of packets per second my security solution will be able to digest before to break? What will be the latency of this traffic? The latency is more for the inline security, of course. Then something very important, we will see the impact on the memory and on the CPU of the number of connections, TCP connections per second and concurrent connections. That's something very important that a lot of time we forget when we are not used to do some test plans, because this is very important. Each connection, each concurrent connection will add a memory impact for the security solution. So the memory is not unlimited, as you know, and each new connection per second will have a CPU impact as well. So the CPU is not unlimited, and TCP floods and all the kind of floods you have are actually made to break the CPU or the memory of the security solution. So that's why we need to know until where it can go. And also doing the same for HTTP or whatever layer 7 protocol that will be used, because it's important to challenge as well the analyzer and analyze the feature of analyzing of the security product that will take also CPUs and memory on the security solutions. And we need to know until when it can go in terms of transactions per second or concurrent transactions for HTTP, for example, and also for the throughput. So that's only about network. The big part is only about network. And then we go finally on security by testing the security product on their coverage, what it is able to do without being stressed. Just we send, for example, just TCP flood, TCP SYN, etc., or IP fragmentations, and we see how the solution is reacting against that by default without stress. And also the strikes, so the CVEs, exploitations, the CNCs, the malwares, all kind of malicious behavior just to see how it reacts with it. It has a good coverage or not, and etc. And then we select only the attacks that are well blocked or well detected by the solution, and we put the solution into stress. Now we free the horses. We launch a lot of traffic, a lot of application mixed traffic to load the security product, and then we launch the attacks that we know the security product is supposed to block, and we look if, of course, it still block the same or not, and we expect actually with experiences that it doesn't necessarily always react the same. Sometimes attacks pass through when there is a stress. So that's basically what we need to verify. And now, how to verify it? There are, of course, various solutions and vendors specialized in that. Of course, I will talk only about Keysight, but very briefly, because the purpose is not to do a commercial presentation, just to show you one solution. The name is Breaking Point. So this is to benchmark network security solutions. So you need to be able to do is to generate high throughputs, high number of connections for legitimate traffics and DDoS or whatever illegitimate traffic. A very high throughputs. It can go to several terabytes per second, and you need to be able to simulate a lot of malicious behaviors on the network. So CVEs, exploitation simulation, malware download, command and control, data exfiltration, what else? Fuzzing, a lot of these things, reconnaissance, etc. To have a big library to be able to challenge your security solution you will test. That's the purpose. And Breaking Point, our solution, is able to do that. And then when you did that in a benchmark model, then you know the limits of your security product. But what you don't know still is how it will behave day to day in your production network. So for that, we have another solution that I will present very briefly. Is for continuous evaluation. So it is a breach and attack simulation solution that is, again, able to have a big library of all kinds of malicious behavior for the network. So C2 malware, CV, etc. And also to challenge and to test the EDR solutions on your laptop, on your servers, etc., with a lot of on-host malicious behaviors like privilege escalation, uh, registry modifications, OS credential dumping, etc. Well, typically all the matrix of the MITRE attack. So that is Threat Simulator, the name of our solution, but I won't go deep dive into it. I will let you some time for questions you may have, and I think I saw something on the chat already. If you are able to take the mic to ask your question, please feel free. I will go on the chat to see if there is. Let's go back here. I see there were no questions, so thank you for your attention, and I remain available on the event, of course, to answer your questions about how to test, to see our solutions, of course, about testing, both in benchmark and in production network, and I already passed the time, so I will let the hand to the next presentations, and I wish you a good event and a good day. Thank you.